leave that in the video. That wasn't too bad. I see the smoke. Stick, it wasn't, you know, I could tell right away that it wasn't, the hay was on fire. It wasn't a, there's a stick. And so over here on the side, I don't know how many trees have died over here. A bunch of trees have died over here. And I don't know, pretty good sized stick, but somehow I didn't see it when I raked, and I didn't see it go in the baler. Just one of those things. I've had lots of sticks go through the baler and usually don't cause a problem, but it actually went in there and stood up. It was right between, wasn't completely standing up, it was right between two belts. All right, guys, we're round baling. I have not been able to make a video for a while. You know, it's one of those things that takes a little while longer than you think it does to get your cameras set up, things like that. I have two cameras right now. I've got one on the fender on me, looking at the round baler, and I've got one on me. Of course, I'm using my DJI Action 5 and Action 4 cameras, and we're in the Farmall 110C. We're going to make some round bales. So I actually baled yesterday a little bit and didn't have any cameras with me. Chain came off. I baled about 10 bales, I think. I'm having trouble with my counter. Counter's not working. At least it didn't work yesterday. Looks like the number, I don't know, the third or fourth number in it is causing the trouble. I don't know. So anyway, I had to set it, fourth number. I had to set it on 5,000 today. And it looked like from there it's going to work. So I just had to start at 5,000 and count our way up. But, you know, it's just so hard to make videos for me sometimes, to think about it. You know, this tractor was in the shop for, it's gone about 2 months. They weren't working on it for 2 months, but they were, you know, they had it. So it ended up being that the pump in the DEF tank, so the DEF tank, so back, I have a video, you know, about the service that I got. I got excellent service on a Saturday, February 7th it was. I didn't get the tractor back till May. I think it was May. But it ended up being that the pump was bad inside the DEF tank. And what it's supposed to do is when you shut the tractor off, you hear it pump. It makes like a pop, 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 like a, you'll hear it like pop, 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 pop. That's pumping the DEF back into the tank from the, I guess it goes from the injectors back into the tank. Well, it wasn't doing that, and it's a problem because DEF is, you know, a large percentage of water. Is a problem that was going to freeze in there. And as I pump it back from the pump into the tank, it freezes in there, it could break things, it could make things worse. So, you know, and Ben Warner worked on it. Ben Warner Tractor. It's his business. His dad owns the business. I'm sure Ben's a partner, whatever. He worked on it. And he called me a bunch of times like, hey man, he's like, I just want you to let you know we're trying to figure it out. So at one time, they had two different part numbers for the DEF pump. And it was kind of funny because one of them was $4,000 and one of them was $900 and some dollars. And I forget which one was, I think the remanufactured one was actually more money. And no other dealer would let them have one. And the DEF systems on this tractor and a lot of other brands are all the same. Same company, I don't know the name of the company, same company makes them. And all the brands, no matter what the color, they have all had their problems with the DEF systems. At Warner Tractor, when I bought this tractor, I was the first one to kind of making a different sound. Uh-oh. Something got caught. I don't want it caught. In there, and it actually was standing up inside there, right between the two belts. I'm gonna try to get this hay out of there. Move it back. I'm gonna have to pull it out probably. Let's see if that gets it here. I'm gonna turn my microphone turned off. supposed to be here. Alright, well, guess we'll leave that in the video. That wasn't too bad. I see the smoke stick. It wasn't, you know, I could tell right away that it wasn't, the hay was on fire. It wasn't it was, there's a stick. And so over here on the side, I don't know how many trees have died over here. A bunch of trees have died over here. And I don't know, pretty good sized stick, but somehow I didn't see it when I raked, and I didn't see it go in the baler. Just one of those things. I've had lots of sticks go through the baler and usually don't cause a problem, but it actually went in there and stood up. It was right between, wasn't completely standing up, it was right between two belts and it was standing up. So I knew it wasn't like a bearing fire. I could tell it was a belt. Didn't know if the clutch was slipping or it was a belt, but ended up it was just a stick. So I don't think it did any harm. It might have got, and then when I opened the door because I looked like opened the door so I could just kind of check things out. Well, I had more hay in there than I thought, and then I had to pull it all out. It wouldn't shut the door. So anyway, so Ben, you know, with the tractor, so Ben they had it for a while, and he's like, man, I just don't want to, you know, I told him, I said, I don't want to pay $4,000 for a freaking DEF pump. I don't want to pay you anything really, you know. And he's like, I know. So he worked with us and tried to keep the cost down as much as possible, and he did a few other things to the tractor, and might have got a few free little adjustments here and there. I told him I said one thing I don't like about the tractor at all is the 3-point hitch arms. They don't pick a round bale up for nothing. And he said he'd look at them, and he said, I don't know what he did, but he said he got them so they go 3 inches higher, but I'm not sure if it was the right adjustment or not, because the problem is that they don't pick up enough, so they actually don't go down low enough on the bale. In my opinion, they don't go into a bale low enough to pick it up high enough. So if you adjusted them up and now they don't go down as far, that didn't do any good, you know. But if you actually adjust them so they actually go up higher, then that's different. And I always thought that we bought this tractor, we had trouble with our other tractor, the turbo actually went out of it, and we got this tractor as a loaner and then bought it. So they didn't actually go through the process of being checked by the dealership probably like it should have been. And I always thought the link arms were something that was done in shipping, and they didn't do whatever needed to be. I don't know what you would do with them, but it is just that the tractor just has it's just that they don't go very low and they don't have very much travel. Whereas most internationals, if you're an international guy, anyway, I can't talk about other brands, but the 966, you can put the 3-point arms, 3-point hitch arms. I think you can put them on the ground if you want to. If you can't, you can put them darn close to being on the ground. They work great for if you ever had a bar that goes across there, they work great for picking things up. A lot of power there. And they pick way up. And then the 986 picks up real high too. So this hay was actually mowed, I think it might have been Thursday. Today's Monday. I think it was mowed Thursday. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice hay. It's not great hay. It's okay. You know, I really have no desire to do hay at all this year. I'm just like, I don't. It's such a we got so much rain. I mean, this is the first, yesterday was the first round baling that I did. First baling I did, period, for the whole year. We had so much rain. We had a few windows here and there where could have made hay, but I had other things going on. I had to take Judd and Letty to a doctor appointment one day. Had to take Letty to 2 other doctor's appointments, actually 3 other doctors. I had to take her to the dentist, had to take her to the ear doctor, and had to take her to the kidney doctor for her heart. So those were a couple of a couple of them were decent days, but didn't really plan anything because it was only maybe a 2-day window. Need more than that. So what are you going to do, right? So I already talked to my other neighbor, and I asked him, I said, hey, you get over. He does a property next to my rental property. He rents the one next to it, and I said, hey, when you get over there, if you want to go ahead and do it, just go ahead and do it. He did it last year when this tractor went down. He actually was the one that went over there and finished it up. And we don't need the hay. We sold so many cows, and we have 14 or 15, I guess there's 13, I don't know how you count them, 13 adult cows, and then we have I think that's what we have, and then we have 1 yearling, and then I think we have 5 calves. So that counts the bull. So whereas we used to have 40, so we don't need the hay for the cows. We have too many horses, as usual, but we have, I don't know, close to 100 bales left over from last year, plus about 20 wrap bales. So I don't think we really need any, used to do, we had years where we did 500 round bales, at least 400. I think we had a couple years where we did 500. But by myself, a couple hundred is plenty. We're just going to do our property and one rental property and call it good. If I get that all done, and like I was telling my mother-in-law, I am not, I just don't have it in me to go gung ho. And I wish I could go out and mow at night when the kids are sleeping and stuff like that. But the 986 is what I mow with. It's a nice tractor to mow with, but it doesn't have the lights that this one has, a newer one. So you put a newer one on the disc line and go out and mow at night, I'd have no problem. But 986 is, it's got the lights up front, lights on the fenders, lights on the cab and everything, but none of them swivel. When you're disc binding at night, when I mow with a 966, I take the one on the fender and I have it turn. Actually have 2 on the fenders. Top of the fenders right on the back. They're actually daylighters. They're good ones. I have them actually, both are turned to be on the disc bind, and you can actually see pretty good with that. And I think they're halogens. And then of course the tractor has, I think they're halogens too. Now of course you have LEDs and all that. And I'd love to have if I was going to have, obviously I would never have enough, you can never have enough tractors, right? We had a Farmall, before we got this one, we had a 105U. And we round baled with it, and I mowed with it a lot. I could mow with that. I used to mow with that or the 966. And the only problem with mowing with it was same as this tractor. You can only go so fast. The newer ones are just so light and so bouncy. They just throw. This tractor right here, I'm in range 2, 3rd gear, full bore, full throttle. It only lets you run the throttle just a hair over 2,000 RPMs with a PTO on. And if you shift up to 4th low, it'll pretty much throw you right out of the seat. All these bumps that I'm hitting like this, they're like 3 times as hard if you just go 1 gear higher, go from 3.9 miles an hour to not quite 5. It'll about throw you out of the seat every bump you hit. So whereas the 966 or the 986 I'm mowing first high, which is with the torque head, is about 6 to 7 miles an hour, somewhere in there. So you know, 1 mile an hour doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot when you're in a field in a tractor. So if I had my, you know, my wish list come true, I would have like a MX MX 110 or something like that. Even this tractor, and loaded down with weights and tires loaded with no loader, and have, you know, all LED lights on it, and that'd be my mowing tractor, and I'd go mow at night. I used to mow when Rachel was still here. She, you know, I would do hay all day, I'd eat supper, mess around with the kids or whatever, and then kids would go to bed and I'd go back out and I'd mow hay till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Did that quite a bit. It helps me stay ahead of the, you know, help me stay ahead, that's for sure. But now, you know, I don't know what would happen if one of the kids woke up and I wasn't in bed. They probably wouldn't be too good. I mean, my mom is right there next door, but not quite the same, you know. But so it works this way. I just gotta, mowing is my, you know, mowing is that's what takes the longest. It's what's got to happen first before you can do anything else. You got to mow, and that's what takes me the longest. I would like to have so we have a 9-foot straight tongue 87220, which I like the disc bind a lot. I just wish it had I wish it had the bent tongue on it, because then you could mow. You can't mow with this tractor with it. I hooked the disc bind up to it one time. You can't see the mower at all like you want to. That's why they put the bent tongues on. They didn't have a bent tongue in stock when I got it. We had to get it when we got it because their other one had thrown a bearing pretty bad, and it was right in the middle of like a week's worth of good weather. So, and it was what, 8 years old, something like that, 7 years old, and so now this one that we have is about that. So we're ready for a new one, but I'd like to get the 10-foot 4-inch with the bent tongue. That would be what I would get next time. But we're making hay, so this hay, you know, it's decent hay. It's not great. It's nothing like a lot of people have, that's for sure. It's needing some reseeding. It needs some fertilizer. Put lime on it last year, so we put lime on this field and the field next to it. This one actually got a little bit of extra. So we're making hay. I don't know, bale today. Lainey went to a play date, birthday party at the trampoline park. I had to drop her off this morning, and not sure if I'm gonna have to go get her or if my mom or somebody will go get her or what, but I'm gonna at least bail till she makes contact and says, hey, we're on our way, or can you come get me, or whatever. So this tractor, hopefully, you know, and then now they come out with the they came up with you're gonna delete the def and get rid of def. I think. I hope that helps. hope that's true. I wish they'd come out and say, hey, we'll pay to have it removed from your tractor, because that's what I'd like that. I've got, oh geez, we have over $7,000 in repairs because of DEF. So yesterday the chain on the pickup head came off. That was one of my first videos back in 2023, was putting that back on. I'd like to punch the engineer in the face that came up with that design, where the guard is just goes around that sprocket and the guard is just wide enough that the chain can go down in there. Otherwise, if it was a 1/4 inch narrower gap, the chain would be it might come off one of the other sprockets, not come off the main sprocket. But that was the hardest part, it was wedged in there between the guard and the sprocket, and it couldn't get it out. I remember, I think that's when I did the last video, that was the biggest problem I had too, a couple years ago. And then of course this baler, this baler is made at New Holland in Pennsylvania, but it has a lot of it's metric bolts, and then it does have some that are standard bolts. So the sprocket there, the idler pulley for the sprocket is a 22 millimeter, and then the other bolts you got to take the wheel off, because I couldn't quite get the chain on because there was hay under the sprocket, behind the sprocket, and the chain went slide back in there, so I had to take the guard off. In order to take the guard off, I had to take the wheel off, and the wheel was 18 millimeter bolts to get the wheel off. The guard was 10 millimeter bolts, and then the sprocket was a 22 millimeter. And of course, when I first I was up here in the field when it came off, I'm like, I was pretty sure I didn't have any tools with me that were going to be the right ones. I was pretty sure I needed metric, and I had one set of wrenches with me, and they're standard, and 3/8 wouldn't work, and 7/16 wouldn't work, so I guess it's 10 millimeter. I didn't have them, so I knew I had to go back down the barn anyway, and so then I had to go, and took about 15 more tools than I wanted to use, that's for sure. I actually got the top guard off and just could not get the chain up in there. So I ended up going and getting better tools and threw them all in the side-by-side, and that's what you end up doing. Then you have 50 tools in the side-by-side. You have to remember to tell the kids that they drive it, don't leave it outside. You get rained on because it's got a bunch of tools in it. Then you get in a hurry and you unload it one day, and then they're all wherever you unloaded them. So for me, that could be usually not the horse barn anymore, but could be the beef barn or the shop at home, or put them in the truck or somewhere. Hoping to break ground for a shop this fall. I'd really like to get a machinery shed shop building right there. I think right by the beef barn would be perfect. The power's already there. And then something breaks, fold it up, pick it up, whatever, and haul it back there and do it. I really do have a ton of tools, but I don't have one, I have them all organized in one place like I'd like, because I don't have a place big enough for them. That would be great. I don't know, like something like 30. Sugar House Edition's 36 feet wide and 36 feet long. That'd be a great start. 36 feet wide would be pretty nice for be nice to be able to pull hay wagons in real quick if you wanted to, and have a place to store them for, you know, a couple days if you had to, if it was going to rain. And it'd be nice to be able to back the tractor round baler in one section, and back the tractor in the disc bind in one section, and back the tractor in the square baler in one section, and back the tractor and the rake in another section. So that'd be 4 or 5 sections. That'd be really nice. Of course, the disc bind takes a bigger opening, but even just grease, you know, today is hot. I don't know how hot it is, but even just greasing and oiling yesterday. So when I had that chain come off, I had put that back on. Well, I'll oil it. So I went home and got some oil and found like a bottle like you put fly spray in, and it didn't have the fan option on it. So it just squirted it, and I was hoping it had like where it fanned it out a little bit, but that nozzle didn't do that. But anyway, so I oiled all the chains while I had it open. They probably hadn't been oiled since last year. So if we get done baling today, I'll get the leaf blower and blow it all out and grease it all up. I haven't greased it. It has quite a bit of grease on it, you can tell. Look up at the bearings and you can see the grease. Little ruts there from feeding round bales, I guess. A couple more ruts than I would like. Making pretty nice bales. This one here, I didn't stop quick enough to tie it, but it's a nice bale. Nice and square. Nice and square on the edges. A couple different guys around me have a wrapper just like me, and their corners are just, I don't know if it's just the way their balers are, or I guess one's a Gale, and I'm sure what the one guy has a Gale, one guy has a Massey Ferguson, maybe the other one has a John Deere. There's 3 people that all have a very similar, well, one guy has a different wrapper, but it's still a single wrapper, but they're all, the corners are bent right over big time. Mine doesn't do that. Probably going to check the bale if I don't know if I'm going to wrap any or not. I would like to wrap about 25 or 30 at least. We wrapped 71 last year. I don't know if there's about 20 over there now. I think 50 or so would probably be a pretty good number. I saved them a little bit too long. I saved them until January. And missed the break. Saved until about January before I started feeding, because January and February I figured that's a little harder. So if my goal is to make 100, but it's hard when you do it by yourself, because I can only rake, round bale, and wrap so many bales. I'm hoping to use the skid steer with the max control, remote control feature to run the skid steer to unload them and put them on the wrapper. I'm hoping I think I can do that. With my phone, I'm trying to get the controller to work, but I have not had luck with a controller yet. I bought a controller. I've seen Bobcat videos with that controller, but I have not been able to get that to work for me. just because that gives you actually gives you joysticks. It's kind of weird. You think, why doesn't Microsoft or somebody, why don't they make a deal with Microsoft or something so one of their controllers, like a Microsoft controller for a computer, would work with it. But the problem is you gotta have the Bobcat, you gotta have it out, you gotta be using it, you gotta have Max Control on, and you gotta link to the controller and then change the settings, I think. And every time I've tried it, I just haven't had time enough to do it. I have two different ones and neither one of them, I haven't been able to get either one of them to work, but it would just save a lot of time. You gotta use the Bobcat to unload bales. It just save a lot of time getting in and out of the Bobcat if you could do it. I mean, all you gotta do is have the spear up, basically have the spear up high enough that you're not gonna hit the wrapper if you actually accidentally, if I accidentally drove 6 inches too far. But it'd be cool to do, for sure. So if we get a day where, get some time here, we get some hay down, and it looks like it's not going to get enough time to dry properly, we'll probably round bale and wrap it. I did last year. I had a little bit of help. I just had help one day. I think we might have did 15 bales or something like that. Somebody else baled them and I hauled them and wrapped them. But I didn't have any that were, 50% moisture. They were all drier than that, which is fine. The cows seem to like them. They smell great. So I could do some that, I could definitely do some with a little bit more moisture. But as hot as it is now, I don't know if that, I might have to, if I do it, it might be, if I happen to mow one day and it looks like, so I usually would mow and then mow the hay, let it lay for a day, and then on the third day rake it and bale it. Either whether I'm doing square bales or round bales. If I'm doing square bales, we would try to ted it on that second day. But so if you didn't have that window, then you would mow today and bale it tomorrow and wrap it. That's what I would do. If it was real hot, you could mow in the morning and bale it in the afternoon, and probably would be all right. But I think, mowing it one day and baling it the next day is about the best that I could do. If you wrap this hay right here, it's gonna, it's gonna ferment, and you're gonna get some of it, but it's not gonna be as good. But last year was the first year that I wrapped any for a couple years. I think one of the teeth underneath is hitting just a little bit on that baler. Get time, I'm gonna, you can hear it just a little, hitting just a little bit. Well, the baler's gonna be, it is 2009. We have a lot of bales with it, and had quite a few different operators. I need to get a new PTO shield. Hoping I can figure out online. I only need the front part. Somebody baled last year, and I don't know what they did, but cut that front part right in two. And of course, it cut it off so that it's not long enough to. There's about 2 inches of shaft showing. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It works fine, but just a little cosmetic or aesthetics or whatever. It doesn't look as good. Somehow I ended up with a odd row on this side. Not sure how that happened. That's a real nice bale in front of me. They'll eat it, that's for sure. So I have a little field behind me. I think it's 4 acres. I raked it. I really wanted to square bale it. I was planning on square baling it today, but things didn't quite go as planned yesterday, so I decided to rake it today. There's no rain in the forecast, so I raked it, and I thought, well, it had some, when I raked it, I saw some pretty green wads. So I didn't let it lay there. I'm not ready for square bales. You know, it'd probably take me a couple hours to get ready. I have to get the elevator set up. Got one wagon that got to put the tire on. One wagon I got to clean off if I want to use that one. I do have 2 wagons. That one will be the 3rd one. And then I got to get the baler hooked up to the 966. So I'm in probably about 2 hours I could be ready. The other problem is that that's the only other hay that I have down. So I have to mow more. So I'm hoping to get this field baled and then go mow more, and then at least start to get ready for square bales tomorrow. And if I don't get to square bale tomorrow, then maybe I'll just round bale that field and try to square bale the next one towards the end of the week. But it might be a little harder to get help on Friday and Saturday because July 4th is Saturday, I think, right? So, but 2 loads wouldn't kill me. I could probably unload. My kids could probably unload 2 loads to me if there wasn't any rain in the forecast, and you just take as long as you take. My helpers probably won't be around. It's easier to do square bales at the end of. We got horse camp going on right now, and it's easier to do them at the end of horse camp so that you can say to all the teenage helpers, hey, stick around and help us do hay. But I'm not sure. If I don't have any, that would have to be, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We don't have horse camp on Friday. But we'll figure it out. Last year we didn't do enough square bales. The problem with that is if you don't do enough, then I'm the only one that feeds round bales. People think that feeding round bales is easy. Well, you have your moments when the tractor slides down the hill, tractor gets a little tippy, you just about get stuck. I mean, you have those moments that experience definitely helps, and you don't just jump in or on somebody else's tractor you've never drove before and be like, hey, I'm going to go feed bales. When you're picking up a 800 to 1,000 pound bale and turning and going on a side hill and up and down hills and snow and ice and mud and everything, there is some hazards. But it seems to be baling real well. Stupid, the alarm thing. I bought a new box for it, hooked it all up, could not get it to work, and then I thought, well, maybe this year I'll manage to figure it out, what's wrong with it. And I hooked the baler up, pulled it out of the shed, and I noticed that somebody had somehow the wire had been pulled. It broke the box on this, broke the new box. So it has a box underneath the step there by the PTO where the wire plugs into the box, and that box is all the wires go into the baler. And it's got a, you know, a plastic clip. Well, it broke the side right out of it, so the wire won't stay in there. I forget how much money I paid for that box, and I forget where the heck I even found it. It wasn't from New Holland. I ordered it somewhere online. But without that, it's pretty much hopeless to get it to work. Unless you can figure out what wires and just hot wire it. I don't know. But I have no idea why it pulled out. It should have had plenty of slack. Of course, I have no idea why the PTO shaft, the guard is cut in two, literally cut right in two, and nobody knew that, and the amount of time that it would take for the 3-point hitch arm to cut the guard in two without somebody noticing is a long time too. I don't know if this bale's gonna sit there or not. Probably not. Probably not worth trying. My brakes need to be adjusted. Should have thought of that when it was at the dealership. Well, anyway, we're just gonna keep on baling. Like I said, it's been hard to get videos done. You know, today I came out here. I forgot the mounts because I had taken them all off the tractor, and it took me a couple minutes to get the mounts all set up, and then the one camera needed a battery and get everything going, and of course I picked up a stick on the first bale. But so now the mounts will be in here, and we can just keep on using these two mounts just the way they are for the rest of the season. We'll get the other mounts on the other tractor. So, you know, this one's plastic fender, so then the magnetic one's got to go on the 986. Get that one in there. We'll do a video of mowing next time. But Bobcat videos are definitely easier to make. And I didn't even touch the drone, but we'll try the drone on one of them sometime soon too. But anyway, we're going to call it a video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more from Triple D Farms, Triple D Maple, and Triple D Cabins. Please like and subscribe. I'm Jared. Have a great day.